Hi, and welcome to today's free pick a card reading. So our subject is, what is he or she afraid of? What are they afraid of? What is your person afraid of? This is meant to be a love reading. And what I want you to do is think about someone who you care about. It could be your boyfriend or girlfriend, your spouse, just someone you have a crush on. And, what we're looking to is, what is this person afraid of? Now, this can give you a lot of information, not only about why the relationship is the way it is, but also their motivations and emotions, okay? Because fear is a big motivator, okay? We either try to avoid negativity or we try to move towards positivity. And those are, that's, the key behind human behavior, right? So basically, what we're looking at is, what is this person wanting to avoid, or what is this person having difficulty getting through that's preventing them from moving forward. All right, guys. So that said, my name is Cassie, and I am the reader behind MomentsAre. This is the first video of the season for 2020, and I'm really excited. Everything you need to know about me will be in my description. However, you can always send me an email, which will also be in the description. And at the very end of this particular reading, I will make some announcements about what's going to be coming up on this channel, okay? But let's go ahead and get to it. Let's not waste anybody's time, because I know you guys have probably been really excited about this. Okay, so I have new markers. Just so you know, these are like beads. When you have kids, you just go with what you got, So pile number 1 is the airplane. Pile number 2 is the bike. Pile number 3 is the bus. Pile number 4 is the taxi. Pile number 5 is the train. And pile number 6 is the boat. Okay, so take some time, just kind of feel out which one seems to be the right one. We'll go ahead and pause the video right now if you need more time. Otherwise, we're going to start with pile number 1. Alrighty. Hi, pile number 1. Those of you who picked the airplane, here is your reading. Okay, so we've got in the subconscious realm, we've got bridges, okay, that are coming up as issues with your person. Okay, we also have some blame, and when it comes to interpersonal relationships, we've got both guilt and passion. Okay, we have the house followed by the birds as far as the Lenormand, and the overall message to your person, what your person needs, is happiness. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this one kind of up here. All right, so one thing that I can say just right away from looking at this is that your person may feel, by being with you, whether or not there's an actual other person or not, that they're betraying some kind of family member. Okay, so maybe your person has kids, maybe they have certain ideas about the way that they should be based on the way they were raised, okay? But when the family structure, we're talking about the roots, we're talking about where that person came from. And some people, the most important family member might be a sibling or a grandparent or a cousin that the person has, just been either close to or have had just one of those really toxic relationships with. The problem that the person is going through, though, is that there's an issue with the family, and they don't want the family members to talk. Okay, the birds represent talking and how they chirp and all of that. It also can kind of represent anxiety, so that kind of re-emphasizes what is kind of fearful here in this person's life. Okay, so when we go back to look at the subconscious, the way that this person can resolve this is to build a bridge between the family issues and you, the viewer, okay? So this is basically the answer, okay? This is the advice, but this is the answer, is that if the person can unite both issues, and they'll be fine. Sometimes a bridge doesn't mean that necessarily both of them are connected, but it's just a way to move from one place to another. And so it might be that they need to leave this behind, okay? I think that's going to be relevant to a lot of you. With blame coming up with this, I really feel like they feel like they're doing something wrong, especially when it's paired with guilt. You know, this person, for whatever reason, they have had issues with basic survival, okay? Maybe not getting their, you know, very, very basic needs met, like food, clothing, and shelter. Maybe not like that, but just the ones right above that, right? So I would say, for example, this person, maybe when they were growing up, they had food, but maybe the food wasn't as nourishing as it could have been. Or maybe they had clothing, but it wasn't as functional, that kind of thing. Or maybe in this particular environment, they felt fearful about food, or fearful about clothing, or fearful about their home, okay? Which would definitely make sense, okay? So this guilt and this blame and this kind of energy where we're talking about, you know, very base survival issues, you know, makes it really easy for them because now they're better now, okay? I mean, comparatively, they're better now, okay? It's just that they still carry around those patterns, okay? And so by carrying around those patterns, they get kind of caught up in feeling guilty. You know, for some people, sometimes they feel guilty for succeeding because they have gone they're in basic survival mode for so long that when they get out of it, it feels weird, like wrong, right? So I think that some of that's kind of going on as well. But it's like they just need to move on with the bridge. They need to move on and everything. And it's like there's a concept called the tension of opposites. I've mentioned it before. You guys can look it up if you want to. It was proposed by psychoanalyst Carl Jung, okay? And with the guilt and the passion, that's like the tension of opposites there. It's when a person is of two minds, and for whatever reason they think that those two things can't be mutually exclusive, okay? Or those two things need to be mutually exclusive. They can't be together. So it's a both and rather than an either or, okay? So with the passion, it's like they have passion to move past all of this. You know, they definitely, in their heart, they want to move past all of this. They want to get to a point where they are happy, right? But the guilt, it's like they feel guilty about having that. So basically, where your person is that there's some issues with the home, the issues with survival, and they just need to learn how to move on from that, okay? I think everybody can probably identify with the idea that, you know, sometimes we have to leave what's not serving us behind, right? Given that this person needs more happiness, and when we talk about happiness, we're not necessarily talking about being elated constantly. We're talking about times where a person feels content, right? So bringing happiness into that person's life is the key to helping them move past their fears. If you are able to just, you know, bring an aura of you're content with the way that person is, like they don't have to be any less or any better for you, that will go a very, very long way to helping them feel more happy with their current situation, okay? And when we find what makes us happy in our current situation, what makes us unhappy kind of really becomes obvious. And it's almost like that's a motivation to change as well, by moving towards happiness instead of being stuck with these kind of tension of opposites going on. Okay, guys? This is a very common fear from what I've seen. Some people it takes a long time to get, past it. But there's definitely, there's definitely hope here. Okay. So, this is an interesting one, and one that I think that you will be able to work with just fine. Okay. All right. Hi. Those of you who picked the bike, the second pile, here is your person's fears. Okay. So in the unconscious realm here, we have celebrity. That's a very interesting one. And as far as their interpersonal relationships, we have doubt. We have impartiality and wisdom also. Okay, here we go. We've got the Tower. We've got the Storks. And we have got Diligence. Okay, so I just want to kind of explain what these particular cards are for. This is unconscious. This is a really quick snapshot. This is the way the person interacts with other people. This is kind of like their personality, which continues to propel it forward. Diligence card is actually what can help them be happier in their situation. What can help them move past their fears. I want to mention already, this is a very green. This is a very green reading. I personally associate green with money, with intellect, and also with the heart chakra. So we've got, especially when you combine that with what the words are, we've got somebody who's very intellectual. We've got somebody who definitely could make a lot of money. And then we also have somebody who is probably introverted. So that, that can give you a little bit more information about your person. So yeah, let's start with the Lenormand. We see the Tower, and the Tower can represent a big company or a big organization. It can also represent being an introvert as well. In this case, I think that there's a little bit of a dual meaning there. Okay, I think this person does keep to themselves. They are a private person, but that they're also successful in some way. And there's so like they're successful, but they also want to have some kind of family. The Stoics have to do with, they mate for life. It has to do with family. It has to do with wanting children. The person might actually just be concerned with future generations, okay? That tends to be a very, very common concern among people who are very well off. I'm not saying your person's well off, but they definitely have the ability to be if they wanted to. But basically what's going on here is that there's kind of a dual feeling of, it's like, I want to be successful, I want to study, I want to do this stuff, but I also want to have a family. I also want to be able to move forward with that and basically have something, a part of themselves living on. Okay, so let's go back to the unconscious aspect, and so we've got celebrity. So I really feel like this has to do with two or three potential problems. Okay, understand, since this is a general reading, it's gonna have a couple of meanings based on how many people pick this pile. For some of you guys, your person feels really uncomfortable with the spotlight. Okay, they just feel like they're like put on the spot and that kind of thing, and that's holding them back. Okay, for others, your person actually is growing with celebrity. Okay, but their issue is more that they're afraid that that's going to somehow overrun their life, like they are just going to be inundated with a lot of people, like maybe fans, maybe people who really admire them, that it gives them more work. Okay, and for some of them, the issue is that they don't want to become a celebrity, but it's kind of like the path that they're on. Okay, and so basically we've got those three things, and all of those things can actually be all at the same time too. Okay, so these might just be layers to your person. Okay. They have a lot of self-doubt. They have a lot of doubt of their ability to interact with others, okay? So I think that the green representing the heart chakra is talking about a block there, okay? They're doubting their ability to connect with other people, okay? That would definitely drive somebody to be more introverted. It would drive somebody away from the spotlight, or somebody, it would drive somebody to not be as comfortable with the spotlight. We've got impartiality and wisdom. They want to have a sort of sage aura to them, okay? They really, really value, now this isn't of other people, just themselves. They really value being a person that seems like they're really well put together. It's almost like they're afraid to feel their feelings truly, because they feel like it's going to mess up their mind. Like thoughts and emotions are definitely related, okay? So I'm not saying it's not, but it's like they don't feel like they can fully express their emotions. And because of that, that's another area where that heart chakra is kind of, that heart chakra is kind of blocked there, okay? So when we have the impartiality and the wisdom, it's like that's the way they want to appear, maybe kind of robotic, kind of like they don't have a really strong opinion either way, because they consider things from all perspectives, and that they want to, again, it's just like they want to be a sage. They want to show that. And of course, when you've got people coming at you, whether or not it's a small celebrity, like somebody who might be, the leader of a small organization, or it's a big time leader, when somebody feels like there's a lot of people coming at them, that impartiality and wisdom gets challenged a lot, and that's what they want. That's what they want to come across. So diligence as being their answer. This is the advice for your person, and also advice for you. First off, they're going exactly where they want to go. It's almost like, I don't even understand why they're afraid, because they are going to be successful. That's not a problem, okay? And they're going to be successful because they're diligent, and that will continue to perpetuate their happiness, okay? That does bring happiness to their lives. But diligence is also being offered to you as a way of seeing a little bit bigger the picture of this person, and just really helping them to put words to their feelings. The way that this can look is like you could say, "Oh, how do you feel about that?" And it's different from saying, "What do you think about it?" But it just kind of puts it into the subconscious that, yeah, feeling is an interesting way of connecting with people. So it's like, maybe both of you saw a movie and you want to talk about it, or you read a book. How did you feel about what this one character did? Or how did you feel about the book? What was the time that you went through the same kind of feeling that this character went through, that kind of thing? Or how did you feel when you've gone through certain events like this, for example, it could be something as simple as a child is on a sports team and they lose, and you might want to ask your person, how have you felt when you've been on a team and your team has lost before? It doesn't have to be something really, really hardcore. It can be very light. And basically what I'm saying is that you need to be diligent about inserting the concept of feelings into their vocabulary. As far as getting them to express their feelings. That's going to be a decision that they make. So if you come up front and you say, well, tell me how you feel. Like, I just want to know how you're feeling. I know what you think, but I just want to know how you're feeling all the time. You know, that puts a lot of pressure. But if you just phrase your questions with a little bit of feeling in it, then it's like the person feels like they're the ones that is making the decision to open up about their feelings more. This is very easy to solve. It looks complicated, but it's very easy to solve. And again, it just has to do with helping your person get a lot more in touch with the way that they express their emotions. All right, guys? Yeah. Hi, those of you who picked pile number 3, the bus, here is your reading. Okay, so we have color. This is the unconscious motivations. We have surrender. This is a area where your person, this has issues with their interpersonal life, okay? We have faith, and then we have a facade, okay? So this is kind of tells us a little bit more about the personality of your person, okay? So we have the ship, and we have the child. This is kind of a snapshot of what exactly is going on right now. And then we have adventures, okay, as the advice card. And the advice is both to your person and also to you. All right, so let's get started. What I'm seeing is that this person feels distant from something new. This could be this could be a situation where you guys are in a long distance relationship. I'm actually not getting a lot of reinforcement from the other cards, but this is my long distance relationship card, so I just want to mention that. This person might be feeling distant from their children, literally, but I feel like it's more like they're feeling kind of distant from something new that they want to experience. It could be a new relationship, a new business venture. It could be, it could be something as simple as trying a new menu item at a restaurant. Okay, it's just they want newness, they want adventure in their life, and it's like they feel like it's slow to come. Okay, I also feel like this person has like a longing for things. I know that it's like, when I'm saying that it's like, they feel like it's slow moving, it's like they also long for that too, okay? So we've got a couple of things over there. So the distance and the longing is creating this really strong feeling that the person wants a specific thing, okay? So I just want to show you that the little blurb on here is express your true feelings. This particular deck is called the Dream Oracle Cards by Kelly Sullivan Walden. And this particular one is, this is Kelly's interpretation of color in dreams, okay? So I just want to mention that, this is what the deck maker wanted this card to mean, but I also have a whole lot of experience with dream interpretation. And I just wanted to say that, when things are really vivid and in color, for me, it just kind of underscores this need to, again, try something new, try something different, have an adventure. It's like this person is holding back so much, okay? I mean, I can say, oh, they want to have an adventure, they want to do something new. We've got like kind of a traveling type card here. And it's like, okay, so basically my person wants to be Indiana Jones, is that it? And it's not like that. It could be, but most likely it's not anything like that. It's just the person is getting a little stir crazy, and they really need to move on from whatever it is that they're holding on to now that's preventing them from embracing something new, okay? So what they need to surrender is not only their need to control the situation as far as how long it takes for that to happen. I think that when they try to plan it out and put it in, in little boxes and everything, what happens is that it becomes too complicated. They've just got to let go. And that can be such a difficult thing for people, especially when they learn how to do things by the book. And it's like, well, if I do this, if I work hard, I'll make money, right? And it's like, well, it's not always going to happen that way. Yes, it typically does, but it's not always going to happen that way. Sometimes, one needs to study a little bit more, or sometimes somebody needs to spend more time socializing with people at work. It's not just about working hard. So it's like, what I'm trying to say is the by the book way of doing this, and this is their own idea of what the book is, okay, just isn't working for them. So they've got to just kind of give up their need to control the situation the way that they have been, okay? They have a lot of faith in this particular method, okay? This is an issue because I would say that it's like they're stubborn, but it's like they have issues with, it's like they have issues with giving up. The surrender comes out as a really big problem, and it's just made 10 times worse by the idea that the faith aspect is that they really believe in whatever it is they're holding on to, what they're not able to surrender. But we have this other aspect of that, is that that's not necessarily that person's personal truth. They are not able to actually move forward, be empowered, and have a colorful life. I mean, look at how gray those colors are. Not being able to have a really vivid, colorful, exciting new life, because they're also kind of addicted to being the person that they think they should be instead of the person they are. So I know that it sounds like this is just so hard to change or so hard to help out with it, oh my gosh, maybe there's nothing you can do. But that's actually not true. What you can do is show your person, okay, all the different things that you're doing to bring anything new into your life, okay? And it doesn't even have to, you don't even have to change anything to do this. This is like, sometimes people get really stuck on a person, and they get so stuck on the person that they're constantly focusing on the other person, right? And they're like, well, how did you feel today? What did you do today? That kind of stuff. Or they, just checking in on you. We haven't talked. And it's almost like they're trying to gain points every single time that they talk to this person. Instead, what I think the message is to you guys, I'm not saying that you do this. Some of you guys might. I mean, it's fine. I do it too. Is that you've got to share what you're doing that you're excited about with your person. So even if you just binge watched a show over the weekend, you can tell your person about what you liked about it, and you can get really specific, you can say, I really liked this theme, or I really liked the way the character responded to this. Convey to them that you're excited, that you're experiencing new things, and that you're open-minded to that. It'll get them excited. It's like contagious. It'll get them excited to kind of get out of their rut. And it'll start breaking apart this faith, Now, faith, I do have to say, faith is a very, very positive thing, okay? And it can be used in just amazing ways, okay? So I'm not trying to say that this is negative, okay? It typically is associated with confidence, feeling, conviction, stuff like that. What we're talking about is faith in what they're doing is the right thing, okay? I just really want to make sure that that's clear. But yeah, talk to them about like something new. Maybe you are a member of a club. You can say, at my latest club meeting, this one person did the silliest thing or whatever. Or maybe you go work out, you could talk about, your exercise class, or, anything like that. Just show them that you're excited about doing your hobbies, doing the stuff that you're doing in your free time. Talk to them about anything new that you are experiencing, because then your person's going to not only be directed to be more interested in you and want to pursue you and find out more things about you. But also, they're going to be thinking about how they don't really have a whole lot to talk to you about, because it's kind of like the same old. And so they'll want to bring new things into their lives as well. Because if you talk about something that's like really exciting for you, like, gosh, I really, really like this show. It was so great. I don't know if you'd like it or not. Maybe you'd think it was lame or whatever, but I really liked it because of this or that or whatever. Or gosh, I saw the worst show. It'll make them interested to check that out too, and then you can share that with that person. And that's all they need. They just need a little push to check something new out, and that's it. And it'll just compound, because as they do this, what they want, which is adventure, what they want, which is new things, will end up being what's motivating them rather than what's holding them back. Okay, so instead of avoiding by being, by holding on to something and all of that, what they'll be doing is they'll be immersing themselves in the things that will help them feel better. Okay, so this is really positive. And I know it sounds bad, but it really is positive as far as how easy it is to fix. It's very easy to fix. And really, sometimes we do get married to ideas, basically. We get so caught up in our ideas and our ways of being that it really is a challenge to, like, kind of knock some sense into us, So I think that a lot of people can identify with this kind of fear. It's just that your person's having a little bit more issues with whatever it is they're going through now, than the typical person, and they're really struggling with it. That's it. But you can definitely help that just fine. Hi, pile 4. Those of you who picked the taxi, here is your person's fears. Okay, so what are they afraid of? We've got computer. It's a really interesting thing. This deck is dream oracle cards. So this is like, if a computer showed up in your dreams, what would that mean? Okay, so I do want to explain that. So this is representing the unconscious mind. We'll get back to this. As far as them being able to interact with other people in their interpersonal lives, we've got self-esteem coming out. We've got enlightenment and joy. Okay, then we've got the clouds. Okay, with the dog. All right, and then we have release. Wow, this is a very, very, this is a very easy for me to read. Okay, so you guys really lucked out, because this is so clear to me. But also, it really shows what can happen when we get stuck in ruts in our mind, where we're thinking negative thoughts about ourselves, or we're thinking things that don't serve us anymore, basically. And what we think colors our feelings, and then what we think is also a reflection of our beliefs. So what's going on with the clouds? The clouds typically talk about depression, foggy thinking. It could be anxiety. It's just anything that's bringing that person down. Okay, and this could be an external event. I'm not saying your person has depression. I'm just saying, what they're afraid of is not being able to think clearly, not being able to make the best decisions. Okay, and it's like the self-esteem issues arise from that, because it's like they're not feeling like they're able to be an effective person. Okay, a lot of people talk about self-esteem, and what they mean is self-efficacy. Okay, you can look that up on Google. Okay, it's really simple. But self-efficacy is how effective am I in the world. Okay, if I have a goal, how easily would that goal come to me? That kind of thing. Sometimes self-efficacy is also about how effective am I as a person compared to other people in my, peer group, or in my particular demographics, that kind of thing. So self-esteem, is it's multifaceted, right? Like everything, right? But yeah, when we're having cloudy thoughts, we're not, and we're thinking kind of negative things, of course our self-esteem can suffer. So computers, when when I think about computers, I think about cognitive psychology, which is basically the measure of brain performance and pretty basic cognitive abilities, which would be memory, language, that kind of thing. It's concentration is also one of them, cloudy thoughts and all of that. So computers, the computer was a model when cognitive psychologists started out talking about their concept of the human brain and how it works. Is that it's basically a network of different ideas. You've got a memory program, you've got a learning program, you've got a speech program, and all of that all running in your brain. So it's like they're feeling like their mind isn't running up to par. Basically, they need to upgrade their system. Maybe they need to, get a faster internet connection. But it basically, and this is all a metaphor. Okay, I'm not saying this is literal. And basically the idea is that their mind feels like an old computer that's not running right, okay? And it's like they just want to feel like things are smooth, okay? And they're not going to have like breakdowns and issues with that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, when you're not feeling your best in your mind, your self-esteem's going to fail, and you're not going to be as enlightened. And enlightenment is a difficult concept to quite describe. We all know what it is, but it's difficult to describe what it is for each person. But the enlightenment is basically where the clarity is so obvious that it just comes to us without us even searching for it. It just comes to us. That's what this person, this is what this person is having problems with, not being able to have things come easily and not being able to experience the joy and the bliss of having, basically, they're fully functioning, okay? I purposely didn't mention much about the dog because it's part of our guidance for how to fix this, basically, okay? This person really needs a friend. And I know it can be kind of difficult, especially if we have romantic feelings for somebody, to be a friend sometimes. But that's what they need right now. They just need a sounding board. Like, does this make sense? Does what I'm thinking make sense? They need somebody to support them, somebody to help them, go out and experience the world, somebody to help build them up and let them know that they're good, they're effective, and all of that, so that they can release all these negative thoughts, right? In the fall when the trees shed their leaves and then they kind of go into their winter, it's like, all of that is happening so that they can blossom again and then just really, come out. And it's like, that's what your person needs to do. They need to blossom into who they are. So, okay, well, what are ways that you can help this person's self-esteem? Basically, let them know when you appreciate what they do. It's like, oh, thank you for reaching that thing for me on the shelf, or thank you so much for, for bringing treats to work. Thank you so much for pointing out your perspective. It really helped me understand things. Let them know what they're doing well. Like, gosh, I really like the colors you're wearing today. It doesn't have to necessarily be something really big, but just be genuine, because people can pick up if it's not genuine. If you really like it, let them know that. And the things that you don't like that they're doing, instead of saying, ooh, I don't like it when you do that, a better way of saying it is suggest a way to do it differently, okay? It's like, so for example, this is just such an easy thing to use. If a person isn't texting you or calling you or messaging you, right, and you want them to, when they do message you, instead of saying, why haven't you messaged me? Why haven't you called? And that kind of thing, instead of say, oh, it's good to hear from you. That way you're giving them the positive reinforcement that that's the way you want them to act, right? And also, another way of looking at it is, if the person isn't contacting you and you'd like them to, and let's say you see them every day, you could say something like, it would be nice to hear from you outside of whatever situation you're in. So, like, if this is somebody you know from church, it would be nice to talk to you outside of church, outside of our religion, or it would be nice to talk to you outside of work or outside of this particular social group. Apply whatever that is for you, how you know this person. And they'll be able to release this. One thing about the clouds that I really like is that it does show the sun as well. Let me kind of hold this up a little bit. And that's the way the Lenormand was designed. That there would be clouds on one side and the sun on the other. At least typically. Okay, I mean, for those of you who really know it, I know that there are some decks that don't show it that way, but generally that's the way it's read. And whatever it is, we don't have a Lenormand card right here, but whatever it is before it, that's the cause of the cloudy feelings, and this is what they need, right? So the thing about the clouds is that it does give you direction, what to move towards, right? So it really helps. So right now you've just got to be a good friend to this person, supportive, and that kind of thing. And once they release this negative think, they'll be right there for you, and they'll be ready to do something with you that's more than just being friends. Okay, I feel that very, very strongly, because when you're not experiencing joy and when you're down on yourself, you don't feel like you can be an effective person in a relationship. Definitely. So I think that, just kind of slow things down and be aware that this stuff's going on with your person. Just because it came up with the clouds being associated with depression or any kind of mental disorder, and we've got the computer talking about cognitive functioning. If you think your person has some kind of disease that they, need professional help for, it's okay to suggest that, okay? It could be something as simple as, therapy once a month, or it could be something more like, therapy and medication management, and that kind of thing. I just want to mention that because, I majored in psychology, and I do have my own mental issues, which is treated. It's in remission, but it's just, if I didn't take my meds, then everything would just be horrible. You guys, it's just awful. But, at the same time, I feel like it's important and like my responsibility, to mention to you guys that that's okay. And, sometimes that's what a person needs the most when they're having kind of cloudy thoughts and stuff like that. So make sure that you let your person know that if that's something that you think that they might need, okay? All right. Hi, those of you who picked pile number 5, the train. Here's your reading. All right. So we've got the subconscious, okay? And the subconscious is about parties, okay? We've got party in the subconscious. Their issue as far as interpersonal relationships is humor, okay? This has more to do with their personality. We've got creation and gossip. Okay, so this gets down to the heart of the matter is that we've got this this scythe, which represents pain, okay? And then we have the mice, which represents loss, okay? And then we have community. Okay, so that makes sense, okay? Your person's primary issue is connecting with other people, okay? That's their issue. And I'm not saying that they need a lot of connection. It's just that they're not able to communicate, or not communicate, they're not able to connect in a way that feels meaningful for them. And the reason is that they lost someone, or they had a negative experience. Maybe they're going through something where they've lost some kind of material, like maybe they're going through financial hard times, or just hard times in general, That's causing them pain, and they just don't feel like they have a sense of humor anymore, that kind of thing. But when we have, I mean, we've got party and community coming up, and it's like, this is a problem, and this is the answer, because this particular card is the advice card for both you and your person. It's obvious that what we have here is this person probably has a lot of social anxiety, okay? You can go ahead and Google that if you want to know what that means. But, this person probably has a lot of social anxiety. And what they do to try to relieve that anxiety is they try to use humor, but it doesn't always, I really feel like it doesn't always translate very well. It's like they're not connecting with their sense of humor with what they're trying to say. This person is a very creative person, and they need more creative endeavor in their lives. And this is stuff that comes up with artists. It also comes up with, artists, musicians, writers. It comes up with any kind of hobby or job that requires innovation, okay? So this is who they are. They create, right? But they feel like gossip, we've got gossip party, and the humor and the answer is community. It's just right now they're perceiving the community as being a negative force, right? Because it's like, sometimes people get real paranoid about being in around other people. They wonder a lot, like, what does that person think of me, and that kind of thing. It can really cause some stress. This is very, very typical of social anxiety, though. And I want to mention, going back to our main question, what is he or she afraid of? Your person is probably, fear, anxiety. Sometimes people use them interchangeably. I personally think there's a little bit of a difference, but it looks like your person is just afraid of socializing right now, okay? And again, I think the issue has to do with loss, the pain of losing something. They don't want to lose, they don't want to build these relationships and then lose them, okay? I would say an extension of that, and this is outside of the realm of the actual reading for today, is also they probably don't want to lose you, and that's probably preventing them from moving forward with you. And I just want to kind of mention that, and that should resonate for at least like 75% of you. It's just because they've had some kind of pain, and they've just got to move through the pain. That's it. One way to help this, though, and it's pretty easy fix, is when we talk about community, it's like letting them know that other people aren't gossip. Like they're talking positively about this person. Like, oh, I talked to this guy, the other day, and they were talking about how great you were. Or, I talked to this woman, and she was really complimenting, what you were doing when it comes to, they really complimenting something that you did, that kind of thing. Just let them know that it's not gossip, it's not negative. What people think about themselves, about this person, what people think or the way they perceive them is like, that they're cool, that they do cool things. Now, we also have the situation, and I'm seeing it very clearly, that your person might just be kind of eccentric, and they know they're eccentric, and they know they're a little odd, and all of that. And you might be the one person that comes up and says, I actually like that, Gosh, all these people, they think that they think it's so weird for, for people to, I don't know, read a lot. Let's say your person reads a lot. They think that readers are really boring and everything. But you know what? I really like reading, that kind of thing. And I'm using that as an example. Like, if your person reads and maybe that isolates them from other people, you can connect over that thing so that they can find a community where they do fit in, okay? Another way, this is very obvious, but I would say to be a little cautious with this right now, until you start seeing some other positive signs from this person. Inviting them out to do things would be good, but just know that it's just, I'm seeing so much pain over here. And so much social anxiety that I would say that pain might be a little bit too sharp for you to push coming out so much with this person. Some of them might be, so, some of you guys will have people that'll be very open to it. Some of them, I would say most of you guys probably wouldn't. So just kind of keep that in mind. I just don't want to leave it out because it is obviously something that could help. I think ultimately, though, the most helpful thing you can do is do a little bit of research. It doesn't even have to be a lot. Do a little bit of research about social anxiety, and then research, how do people deal with that? Like, what are things that a person can do to help them feel better when they have social anxiety, to kind of dissipate that anxiety, and that'll get you so far. Instead of your person focusing on painful losses and things like that, what they'll focus on is what they can gain from going out more and that kind of thing. And they can also focus on what they it's like things that they can use to, like, we avoid pain, but we pursue pleasure. Ways to pursue pleasure to kind of cover up that pain. Not that I think that they should just push that pain down inside them so much that they're just not even feeling it, because it's important to feel the pain of a loss or feel the pain of whatever a person's going through in order to get through that process. But it's just to kind of ease it up, is all I'm saying, right? So yeah, this is a very fixable situation. I wasn't expecting something so clinical, but, hey, we take what we get. Hi, those of you who picked the boat. Pile number 6, here is your reading. So what is your person afraid of? Okay, so this is a subconscious realm. These are dream symbols, if it seems a little bit weird to you. We've got teeth, okay, coming up with that. We've got empathy. Okay, instinct, an impasse, okay. We've got the person, okay, wow. Excuse me. So we've got the fox and the Lenormand, and that's modified by the bear. That's really interesting here. And then we've got gateway. Okay, that makes sense. So I'm just trying to think of where to start, because there's a lot of good ways to start this. Let's go ahead and start with the Lenormand. Because really it's the most complicated aspect, I think. When you have somebody who's, we're asking, what is he or she afraid of? They're afraid right now that maybe somebody is trying to, maybe they feel like they're like gullible, or somebody's trying to trick them in some way. Or they feel like they need to get ahead at work, okay? The fox can represent that sly, cunning person that, or, that personality, right? But it can also represent being clever at work, and that kind of thing, right? So cleverness can be a positive thing too, of course. But what we have it modified as a bear, okay? So they're afraid of the fox because of the bear, and the bear represents protective energy, mother energy. It represents the boss. At work, these just happen to be very work-related things. I'm not necessarily saying that your person has a fear, your person's fear has to do with work, but a lot of you guys might be like, oh yeah, it does. But it's like these personality forces are acting. I feel like this is outside of them, though. This isn't necessarily what's inside of them, okay? So they're afraid they're being tricked. And how they get to that point where they're not feeling that way is by moving ahead, by being more compassionate, by being, we've got the mother bear image, whether or not your person's male or female. Your person either feels like they need mothering, they need protection, or more likely your person wants to protect, okay? So when they feel this way, that's how empathy comes up. Because when we've got empathy here, this has to do with interpersonal relationships, this particular card. So what's holding them back in interpersonal relationships is they don't feel like they could be that mother bear, basically. Or the boss, which, is a little bit more thinking oriented way of putting it, but it's the same thing. The person who is in charge of people below them, right? Or people that are not as advanced as them. Let's put it that way. Okay, so we've got the mother bear with her children, and then we've got basically, let's just call it the father bear with his workers, right? I understand that the gender roles there are kind of, but I'm just go with it. It's just the easiest way for me to express. But yeah, I really feel like that is. That's what's going on with them. I also want to point out in Lenormand, we've got cards that are numbered. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, 14, 15, right? I just want to show you that the fox is number 14, and the bear is number 15. It's like in Lenormand, it's not the same way as it is in tarot, where we progress from one card to another card during the Fool's Journey. But I've always felt like certain card pairs really talk about that progression, going from feeling kind of like you have to sneak around, or feeling like you're kind of, you have to be cunning, and that kind of thing, to going to being empowered, like I can make big, bold statements and bold moves instead of sneaky moves, and it feels like this is a progression for them. So let's get back to teeth, okay? Teeth has to do, this is a dream, these are dream oracle cards. It's by Kelly Sullivan Walden, okay? And this is going to be, she's got a little blurb here. I'll hold it up for you so you can read that. It says, take a big bite out of life. This is her interpretation of this particular dream symbol. For me, teeth have for me represented, not only a way of getting nourishment, okay, which I think is what applies in this particular thing, but it also will talk about aging, okay, because as we age, children will lose their teeth, and then they'll get their permanent teeth, and then we've got our I forgot, wisdom teeth, which also, implies that we're continuing to learn, we're applying our knowledge, and we're becoming a wise person, like a sage or a crone, who possesses the ability to really guide people through their life experiences. So that's the way that I particularly, notice that. But given that we have nurture and empathy here, I really feel like your person just feels like they're not getting enough nurture, or they feel like they're not giving enough nurture. It's going to be really, really, it's frustrating for me because I want to tell you which one it is, but because this is a public reading, I'm not able to get specific, right? But the way that I feel is that for a lot of you guys, like maybe 50% of you, it's actually going to be both, okay? You know how you can't give what you don't have. It's like they're not receiving that nurture, so they're not able to empathize because nobody's empathizing with them. Let's put it that way, right? One thing about your person, though, we've got this instinct. I would say that they have probably, I'm trying to think of how to word it. It's not that I don't know what I want to say. I just try to figure out the easiest way to word it. It's almost like your person can instinctually get back on track. They're really quick to understand a concept once it's presented to them. And there's probably aspects of your person that that indicate this person could have a lot of psychic or spiritual type knowledge, or that kind of stuff, where they it's almost like they have uncanny abilities, right? And what this goes back to is just your person being able to just kind of quickly get what's going on. They just have a good read on the situation, right? So one thing that is going on here is that's the way your person is. But then we also have an impasse. Okay, it's like, I don't know which way to go. I think about the Two of Swords with the woman in the Rider-Waite deck. She's got a blindfold on and she's holding two swords and it's crossing over her heart like this. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, like that. It's like it's crossing over her heart, and it's like she's not able to feel because she's so stuck in her head trying to make a decision, right? What this tells me is that their instinct's telling them one thing, but there's really compelling maybe facts, or there's really compelling maybe sensory information that is telling them a different thing, right? And they're really trying to figure out which way to go, all right? They need to take it's obvious to me that the way that they need to go has to do with self-nurture and nurturing others, okay? So they need to go to a point where they're able to connect with others, right? So we've got gateway as a answer, right? Sometimes when a person's of two minds, they feel like they have to do either this or that, right? And sometimes it's a both and. It's like they've got to consider both of these things, and then move forward with something new. I think the gateway represents, in this particular situation, for about 30 to 40% of you, it's going to represent the person just needs to realize that they both can be true. That maybe the truth isn't so black and white, and that it's really in a gray area, and that's what they need to do, is to just do a both and with that, okay? Or and this would be for the majority of you guys, maybe 60% of you. They think it's between one thing or another, but it's actually, there's a third way. There's a third option. And maybe you see it, which is why this is coming up as your advice too. Because this is the advice to you and your person, is that they just need to find a way through to get to this point where they're feeling empathetic, where they're the mother or father bear, where they're becoming more wise and sage, where they're getting more nurture and all of that kind of stuff. They just need, there's a third option, right? If you don't know what that third option is, or if you aren't able to come up with a way to let your person know that both are okay, what you can do is talk to your person about, like you could say, like, this is how I've overcome making a really difficult decision in the past, and tell them about how you've made your decisions between one good thing and another good thing, right? Or trying to pick the lesser of two negative things, for example, that kind of thing. Show them that there are multiple solutions to problems. Be their innovation, and give them nurture. You can just forget the gateway card all away, because, this is more like they need a path, right? Well, the path is by nurturing them and being empathetic with them. Your person, I didn't say this at first, but this is a really important key for this particular reading. Your person might feel like other people can't empathize with them, and that's more their problem than them empathizing with other people. I really feel like this is kind of like going both ways. So with empathy, you've got to say things like, a really easy way to do it is, let's say your person says, oh, I really like chocolate ice cream. And let's say you do. You could be like, oh, same, and that's it. Like, yeah, I like it too. It just lets them know that you're on their side, that you experience life the way that they do, right? And that you can see where they're coming from. another thing is just, letting them know that, maybe it's like they tell you, oh, I've been sick lately. It's like, oh, gosh, I hate it when I'm sick. So, what symptom was worse, that kind of thing. It could just be a way of, like, letting them know that they can be vulnerable around you and that you're interested and that you connect with them that way. Because this is how a person connects. Show them that you can connect to them through that empathy. As they get more of that, they'll be able to give it back so easily. And another aspect of instinct is sometimes people need to be shown something, and then they're like, "Oh, that's it," It might just be that they have this kind of question mark out there for, what can I do to feel more empowered? Because, going back to the original question, what is he or she afraid of? The answer is they're afraid that they're not worthy of love. Okay, that is a really big deal, right? They feel like they're either not able to give love or they're not able to get love, or both. And I mean, it's a really profound fear, but it's so easy to change it by just being loving towards that person. Not only are you modeling how they can change their behavior, but you're also showing them that they are worthy of it. That you're going to spend some of your time showing them that you care about them, The only thing I'd say there is just try not to overdo it, because it can be a little bit weird sometimes when people just kind of come at you constantly with like just make sure that you're inserting it, periodically, so that they know that you see them and that you care about them, or like, oh, you missed work the other day and I was worried about you. Are you okay? Or, I thought about you the other day and I was hoping that you were doing all right. Are you doing all right? That kind of thing. Just let them know that you care about them. And by showing that, they can be like, oh, wow, that's actually what I need to do with other people, So the answer to the question is a little bit, it's dual, because first off, they need to see the path forward. And the second thing is that they need to also experience empathy in order to be able to give it. All right, guys? So that's what's going on with your person. Thank you so much for watching my reading today. I'm so excited about putting it out there for you guys, and there'll be another one on Friday. I just wanted to go over a few things that have to do with the channel. So I've officially now started basically what I'm calling season 2 of my channel for 2020. We've got it starts on January 29th, and it's going to be running until December 18th, okay? And every week you'll get a video on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, okay? And those will be free pick-a-card readings. Additional content is going to also be released. It's just not going to be on that schedule, okay? And it's basically going to be released as each, basically product, each video package is produced. Once it's ready, then I'll just upload all the videos at once and you'll have new content, okay? So these are things like I mentioned, tarot lessons. I've produced a lot of those videos already, but it's like, we're gonna get all the beginner lessons up at the same time so that you can just watch them all in a row if you want, and that kind of thing. So just wanted to let you know, instead of saying like, okay, well, we need to release a video every Thursday that's about learning how to read tarot, we're just gonna do it all at once, okay? And then I just wanted to let you know to just check my website for any kind of updates, because that's where I'm going to be putting most of them, okay? At least at this point. The closer I get to ending, and being about ready to upload some videos, then I will be putting that on my website, like this will go up at this time, things like that. The only other thing I can think of is that those of you who like private readings, we've made some changes to those. We have not opened back up for that because we have had a lot of issues with the timing. It's just been very difficult with the timing and all of that kind of stuff. We are working right now on coming up with a system where we'll be able to get those readings to people very, very quick instead of having them wait and that kind of stuff. So that's where we are with readings. Readings will probably be available somewhere between mid-February to the end of February, okay? And that said, again, thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. I really, really love this channel. I love what I do here, and I'm really excited to, you know, bring this stuff to you for the rest of the year. So, I will see you on Friday with our next free pick a card reading.